Boxing King Media with Mr. Bob Santos at the Bones Adam Gym in Las Vegas. Pleasure to meet you for the first time. I've got to say, I'm loving the hairstyle. What have you got on your hair that's keeping it from not moving in this crazy Vegas heat?
Just a little bit of gel, not too much.
Any special make or brand?
Nah, not really. I'm kind of one of those guys that's kind of generic, right? Just anything goes.
Yeah. Okay. Just be speaking to your fighters, Omar and Sebastian Juarez, who are kind of making their family sacrifice by training here for the next like 5-6 weeks. You will have seen a lot of young fighters do that. How do you kind of be that father figure around him to kind of guide him through that? Because it's not easy being away. He's got a daughter and being away from family and just kind of grinding here.
Sure, obviously it's difficult when you got to make those types of sacrifices, but I always tell these guys, what do you want versus what do you want more? I've been doing this a long time with Robert Guerrero, the sacrifices that he had to make, and I used to tell him, I said, son, if you want to do it from home, you may be able to get it done. I'm not sure, but I know if we leave, we go to camp, we focus, and we do the things we're supposed to do, we have a much more likely chance to be successful. And that's what I've been preaching for over 30 some odd years in this sport. And so these kids have made the journey over here, and we'll see how it goes.
Omar's, followed his career for a long time. He's got amazing ability. He's had a couple of slip-ups in his career. What do you think is missing that will take him to the next level?
Well, he's here with me now, and I think us together, I think it's going to be a union made in heaven. I think we're going to be able to get him to that next level. And I think, with my experience, and like I always tell people, you can't buy experience. And fortunately for me, whether I'm good, not good, in between, or whatever, but when you've done so many corners with so many fighters, you have the knowledge in different areas where you can make adjustments, and I think that's going to pay dividends for him.
You spoke like a true preacher there, a union made in heaven.
Yeah, well, that's what I believe it's going to be because, I've been fortunate enough to be, like I said, worked with a lot of great fighters, a plethora of them, and I think he's no different. I think just a little couple of tweaks here and there, and I think that's going to get him to the next level.
And his younger brother, Sebastian, is only 20, but I feel like they're going to be moving him quick. How quickly do you think he needs to be moved?
Well, we'll take it as a fight-by-fight basis. He's progressing pretty quickly, to say the least, but definitely everything is a fight-by-fight basis, but we're very pleased with what we've seen so far. Our last fight, to fight a guy that was 13-3, 10 knockouts, had fought as high as 190 pounds, some of his fights that were 175, and had only been stopped once previously, and then on top of it, we did a catch weight just to make the fight happen. On top of that, the guy missed weight by 4 pounds. For him to go out there and get the stoppage, I think that's a testament to him, his ability, and what he's shown so far.
Well, hopefully we see how both brothers progress. I want to get your opinion on the big fight this weekend. I don't know where you're sitting. Are you a neutral in the fight, first of all?
Yeah, I'm neutral in the fight. I've been around Canelo a few times. I've done some camps up there with him at the summit in Big Bear. So I've been around him. I know him. I've seen him. And I've also been around Bud Crawford, training here at the UFC, training over at Top Rank. So I know both guys fairly well. I think they're both tremendous fighters. I just think that Canelo's punching power is going to be the difference. And what I see is almost, I'm not saying it's going to be a stoppage, but I do see kind of like when Hopkins was fighting De La Hoya, it was looking great for De La Hoya till it wasn't. He was boxing very good. He was changing levels, using the jab, he was boxing, but little by little, Hopkins kept getting a little closer, and then we all see him. Once he got to the inside and he hit him with that big liver shot, it was good night, Irene. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Bud, but I think it's going to be more of the same, where he's going to have to be in much more survival mode. And I see Bud, can he win the fight? Sure, but I think he has to fight the perfect fight to win the fight. I think Canelo could get away with making a few mistakes here and there and still come out on top. So I'm going with Canelo.
Obviously, you'll have from a lot more fight experience in the US, because as fans in the UK, when we're watching shows here, it always seems like the Mexican fans are so loud. So even when the Mexican just touches the other guy, the crowd goes crazy. Does that make a difference on the cards? Because that's what they kind of feed us back in the UK. Like, the Mexican crowd is loud. So even if he throws 3 punches, the judges will think, right, he's dominating.
Well, you know what? Like all things in life, right, we have the human element, whether it's football, basketball, any of those types of things, baseball, you have the human element. So when the human element's involved, it's up and down with people. So that being said, of course, people can get affected. Just as you look in the Mario Barrios fight with Manny Pacquiao would throw 2-3 punches. Whether it landed or not, the crowd is going nuts. And at some degree, it's got to affect you to a degree as a judge at some degree. And say you're the judge on this side, and it's happening over there, and you kind of got your back to it, and you hear the crowd going, oh, how do you score that section of the fight? So those kind of elements come into play for sure. So it's definitely going to come into play.
Okay. Well, here's a question for you. If you was trainer of either fighter, which one of Canelo's fights would you, just give me the first one that comes to your mind, which Canelo's fight would you pick out if you was Bud's trainer to think, right, this is the fight that we've got to, this is the blueprint to beat him. There's obviously 2 fights there. And then if you're Canelo's trainer, which Bud fight are you going to look at and think this is the one that we need to look at to find holes in his arsenal?
Well, I think if you're looking at Bud, you look at the Gamboa fight where Gamboa hurt him, with that nice, crisp, short shot. So you got to look to something like that. And if you're Crawford, you got to look to the Bivol fight. You know what I mean? He was in and out, moving, boxing, in and out. Don't get into too many exchanges with Canelo. And he never really stood there with his ground. And I think Bud's going to have to do that for 12 rounds. The question is, can he?
And you tell me, Bob, what's the final decision? What are the judges going to read at? Or what's the announcer going to read at on Saturday night?
I'm definitely going, I think Canelo's going to win. Not because I have a dog in the hunt. I do think Canelo's going to win. Would I be surprised if Bud win? To a degree, not really because he's a great fighter, but to a degree, I'm definitely going with Canelo. I just think Bud has to fight the perfect fight where Canelo has room for error. And I think that's going to be the difference in the fight.
Fascinating breakdown. Before I let you go, I just want to quickly speak to you about Mario Barrios. You will have had time to look back at the fight. There's a lot of people in the UK that thought Manny won the fight.
Sure.
How did you score it now that you've probably watched it back?
I thought we edged out the fight. Obviously, I always tell people, they're like, well, look what you hear people talking about, well, look what he did at his age. It's amazing. That's not how you score a fight. You don't score a fight by saying, well, what he did at his, yes, give him credit. What he did at his age was incredible. But that's not how you score a fight, right? You score a fight round by round. You don't score a fight, well, man, he's doing pretty good for his age. That's not what comes into play. And the way you're supposed to also score a fight is, doesn't matter what the crowd reaction is. Does not matter what the crowd reaction is. I thought Mario controlled the fight with the jab. I thought we came on and won the championship rounds. All 3 judges had us winning the 10th, 11th, and 12th round going down the stretch. But that's the way the judges seen it. And like I said, there's a human element. I do understand. I do get it. Your heart goes out to Manny. You want to see this legend come back and do these types of things. And what he did do at his age was impressive, but that's not how you score a fight. And then also the crowd and everything in and around it was obviously for Manny Pacquiao. But that's the life that we live. There's a human element in anything, walk, shape, form of life. So whether it's baseball, basketball, European soccer, you're always going to have the human element, and they have to make decisions in real time, and that's what part of what the sports is, and you have to live with that.
Is there a rematch? Do you know what's happening next?
Louis DeCubas Jr. and Al Heyman, I guess they would be the ones that would have to decide that, or maybe Turkey. Hey, Turkey. Turkey, man, that guy's been amazing for the sport. Just amazing for the sport. The fights that he's put on, getting back to the Canelo Crawford. Can you imagine that? How impressive that is. Some of the cards that he has put on, the card that he did in New York with Morale and Shakur. And each one of those fights alone could have been a main event. So what a blessing to have him in the sport. And I hope he continues on. And we need people like him in the sport for sure.
Last thing, Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year 2022, was it?
Yes, sir.
Just tell us, the fans, because a lot of people now recognize the Ring on a global scale because of the work Turkey's done. So for you to get that award, one trainer worldwide, there's hundreds of trainers worldwide, you got that award. What did it mean to you?
It meant a lot because there's a lot of years of sacrifice. It's a lot deeper than people think. My cousin fought in the 1956 Olympics, Louis Molina. So my family's given blood, sweat, and tears to this sport for years and years and years. And for me to have done that, 34 years in the pros and 10 years in the amateurs, 44 years on the grind, and to have an award like that, just a blessing. And I'm thankful for all the fans that support us, the fans that like us, the fans that don't like us, but the fans that just love boxing. I support all of them. And that's the great thing about boxing or life and sports. If we all love just the same guy or wanted the same team, then what fun would sports be? So I love the haters, the non-haters, everybody. But whoever loves boxing, I love you.
That's a beautiful little verse. I'll leave it on that. Mr. Santos, pleasure speaking to you, and I'm sure I'll speak to you again. Thank you.
And Bob Santos Boxing. Let's go, baby.
Thank you very much.
Man, it's crazy to see myself in a game, you know, coming up as a kid playing the fighting games and boxing games and football, just any sports game, just to see yourself, you know, to be able to play yourself. It's crazy to me. Still to this day, you know, sometimes I can't even believe that I'm actually in the game, but, you know, dreams do come true. Reality sets in and, you know, we're here.
Respect isn't given, it's earned.